Hiya, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Tabby. Today, it's Italian Day. We are having lasagna. So Christy, one of my followers, sent me an email and said that she would like to see me make a veggie lasagna. So here we go, veggie lasagna. It is absolutely delicious, guys. It's hearty, full of good veggies, and lots of sauce and cheese. I think you're really gonna like it. Have fun today. Let's get cooking. All right, so here's everything you're gonna need to get your hearty vegetable lasagna going. We've got some garlic cloves. I'm using 4. These are just medium-sized garlic cloves, and I buy the ones that are already peeled, so I don't have to peel them. And then I've got some spinach, some red onion, some yellow pepper with just a little bit of red pepper in there, bell pepper. I have a little extra in the refrigerator, so that's mostly yellow bell pepper with just a dash of red bell pepper in there too. And then I've got some mushrooms. It was an 8-ounce container that were already sliced, and then I just rough chopped them into pieces. You don't want to chop them too small because you don't want them to disintegrate in the lasagna. And then I've got some spaghetti or pasta sauce here, and it's tomato basil is what I like to use. You could also get the garden vegetable. That's a really good one. I've tried that before as well. We've got some mozzarella cheese, and then in my ricotta cheese mixture, I'm going to do some pesto sauce, some ricotta cheese, 2 eggs, and some Italian seasoning. And that's about it. So I have my pan here already getting warm on the stove. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my onion and my bell pepper. Get those in there. I'm gonna use my little garlic mincer and mince that garlic in there. You can see it just comes right through there. Alright, that's my last garlic clove. Got that done. And then I'm going to put my mushrooms in. Put those in there. Let that cook until those vegetables get kind of soft. And you don't really want them translucent, but you do want them to soften up just a little bit. The onion and the pepper especially, of course. The mushroom won't take much at all. Oh, that smell. Woo! That garlic in there with those veggies. Boy, that's a delicious smell. And if a mushroom hops out, you just throw it back in. No big deal. Sometimes they hop out. All right, so I'm going to let this cook around just for a little bit, and then when it's ready for the spinach, we will come back. So I'll be back in just a second. All right, guys, so you can see that my veggies have started to cook down just a little bit. They're softening up. You can just kind of tell by the way they feel as you're mixing them up, but they're just getting a little softer. That onion's getting a little translucent now. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my spinach on there. We're going to let that cook and wilt down just a little bit. Isn't that pretty? I love putting spinach in it. I think it's just so good. You could probably use frozen spinach if you wanted to. If you do, I would just recommend that you drain it really good, because you know frozen spinach just has a tendency to have a whole lot of water in it. So you just want to make sure you just squeeze it and get all that water out of there. But I think you could probably just as easily use the frozen spinach if you wanted to. I just like to use the fresh spinach. I think it's a little bit nicer. The color, the look of it, I think is a little prettier. So, all right, so that's just gonna cook just a little bit. A little pepper just popped out at me, a little piece of pepper. So you can see how quickly that spinach, I'm gonna point it down so you can see, look how quickly that spinach just wilts right down, but it still has that beautiful green color to it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add our pasta sauce now. I've got 2 jars here. I'm not sure. I may not use both of them, but I'm going to start with one, and then we'll go from there. Now, if I was making spaghetti, I would put a little bit of water in this and rinse it out. But I don't like to do that when I'm doing lasagna because it waters the sauce down a little too much. I like for my sauce to be a little thicker in the lasagna. Gonna stir that in, and I've got my stove, I don't think I said before, but I've got my stove set on 4.5, so I'm going to turn it down now to just about 1, probably 1.5, 1.4, because I don't really want it to cook anymore. I just want it to stay hot. So I'll stir this around in there. And I think that 1 jar of sauce might do it. I don't think I'm gonna need a second jar. That looks pretty good. You never know, it just kind of depends on how saucy you are. Depends on how saucy you like your lasagna. How much sauce you want to put in there. So that looks about right. All right, so I'm going to grab my noodles because I just realized I forgot to get them out of the pantry. So I'm gonna grab my noodles and I will be right back. All right, so the sauce is just staying warm. I've got it on low, and so we're gonna go ahead and put together our ricotta cheese mixture. So I've got my 15-ounce, I think it is, yep, 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese. So that's gonna go right into the bowl. The thing about ricotta is it just comes right out. You don't have to worry about wasting any of it in there. It just plops right out in there. All right, so we're gonna use about a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Just sprinkle that in there. And then I'm going to use just a scant tablespoon, not quite a full tablespoon, but just about like that of the pesto sauce. And that's just, if y'all don't know about pesto, traditional basil pesto, it's really good. That's good stuff right there. All right, and then we're going to take our 2 eggs, crack those eggs in there. Now I'm going to take my trusty fork. I love this fork. I use it a lot. Trusty fork. It makes a little noise in this bowl, but that's okay. Break up those egg yolks and just start mixing that around. I'll show it to y'all. Get a little closer so you can see it here in a second. You just want to mix that around really good. And then we're going to add some mozzarella cheese. This is the point where you could add some Parmesan cheese if you wanted to, some shredded Parmesan. I don't like the little bottle with the green lid. I don't like that kind of Parmesan, but like a more of a fresh grated Parmesan would not be bad. But I just don't have any, so I don't always do it anyway. So I'm just gonna stick with just the mozzarella tonight. All right, so you just mix that up. You can see how that looks. Mixed up really nice in there. So that is the cheese mixture. So I'm gonna get a spoon now. I'm getting my favorite spoon. This is my favorite spoon. This is, it was actually my mother-in-law's spoon. It belonged to her. So it just reminds me of Mel when I use it. And then I'll show you my dish that I'm using, my baking pan. It's just a glass 9x13 pan. My sister-in-law, Nancy, who has passed now, she's not with us anymore, but she gave me this baking dish when I got married. And so, you know, if you remember my story, when we got married, within 2 weeks, we were living in Brazil. And so I took this with me to Brazil. So this little dish has been with me for almost 34 years, been to Brazil and back. So yeah, I love this dish. I use it a lot. I used it for my rice the other night too. All right, and I put my Haya's apron on. I put on Haya's apron because I have on this white sweatshirt. Why I put that on today, I have no idea, to make lasagna with, but anyway, it's one of my favorite sweatshirts, so I like to wear it. All right, so I'm gonna point that down so I think you can see the pan okay. So now we're gonna put it together. Now the noodles I'm using are the Barilla, or I think you pronounce it Barilla maybe, oven ready lasagna. If you want, you can use the cooked lasagna. So if you would rather use the other kind that you actually boil, you're welcome to do that, but I would only boil them to like al dente. You don't want to boil them until they're really mushy. You want them to have a little bit of texture to them because they're going to cook more while they're baking in the oven. All right, let's start putting this thing together. The veggie, mix is at your discretion. I mean, the options are limitless when it comes to that. So you could do just about any kind of vegetable combination. This is the first time I've ever done this on camera, so I'm just trying to make sure you guys can see everything, but I think you can. So we're just gonna take a little bit of that sauce, put it in the bottom of that pan. Just gonna spread that out a little bit. Don't want to put too much. You don't need to put too much. I shouldn't say you don't want to, but you don't need to put too much in the bottom, just a little bit. And then we're gonna take these noodles. We're going to lay them down 1, 2, 3, and it's okay if they overlap a little bit. Not going to hurt anything at all. Now I'm going to take some of this cheese mixture, a little dollop on each noodle. And then we'll spread that around. Just like that. So we're just basically layering these ingredients. So we're gonna do noodle, sauce, and then we're gonna go back to the, noodles, cheese, and then we're gonna go back to the sauce. Now this time I'm gonna be a little more liberal with my sauce. So noodles, cheese, sauce. And then after you get that sauce on there, I'm gonna put just a little bit more on this side. It looks a little bit not enough. So we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna take the mozzarella cheese and we're gonna sprinkle some cheese on there. Of course, you can put as much or as little cheese as you want. That is at your discretion. You do you. You do you. All right, now if you remember, I put my noodles going this way the first time, so now I'm gonna go this direction. So you're going opposite directions with your noodles. That just makes it a little easier to cut. And again, if it overlaps a little bit, it's okay, but I am gonna break this like that. Is that one? That's overlapping just a little bit, but it's not gonna hurt a thing. Now we're gonna do some more cheese. I like to try to get 3 layers if I can. Some people only do 2, but I like to try to get 3. All right, so cheese. Now we're gonna go back to the veggie sauce. I think I'm gonna have just enough for three layers. Boy, doesn't that look beautiful? All that color in there. I noticed on my videos, I say that a lot, that it's beautiful. I think food is gorgeous. And I've said it before, we eat with our eyes. So if something is attractive and pretty, you're gonna be more likely to eat it. So I'm not like crazy about putting a lot of garnish on and things like that. I mean, I don't try really hard to make things fancy and beautiful. Sometimes I think they're just naturally beautiful the way they are. Like the other night when I made those chicken and dumplings, I didn't do anything, you know, I didn't do anything fancy with those at all, but my goodness, weren't they beautiful, those dumplings? I just thought they were gorgeous. Yeah. All right, so we got the mozzarella cheese on there. Now I'm gonna go back, whoops, almost messed it up. Go back with my noodles. And now we're gonna go that opposite direction again. So we're going back the way we did the first time. So there's that, and since I have these two, look at these 2 little pieces that were broken, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop those in there. That's not gonna hurt a thing. And I am gonna get a little rubber spoon to get the rest of this cheese out. I wanna make sure. So I'll put Memo's spoon away, but I gotta get all that cheese out of there. We don't wanna leave any of that goodness in that bowl. All right, so we're just gonna spread that cheese mixture. Christy, I sure hope you give this recipe a try, and I hope you post a picture of it so we can see what yours looks like. I think you're really gonna like this recipe. And like I said, if you don't like mushrooms, if you don't like spinach, if you don't like the peppers, you can put any veggies in there that you want. Totally to taste. I'm just doing what my family likes. Okay, that's the last of the cheese mixture. I had just enough. Just enough. That was absolutely perfect. I love it when a plan comes together, just like, who used to say that? Was it the A-Team? I'm showing my age. An old show on TV called the A-Team. All right, so we've got the cheese sauce. We're gonna put the last of the pasta sauce on here. See if I can lift this pan up and get the rest of this out of here. Good news is this pan won't be as dirty or as stuck on dirty as it was the other night. I won't have to use any barkeeper's friend on it tonight. Make sure I get all those veggies out of there. All right, we're gonna spread that around. And our last layer, Your last layer should always be the mozzarella cheese. You want that mozzarella cheese to be the very last thing you put on. But seriously, you guys tell me in the comments if you don't think that's beautiful. If you don't think that's beautiful, I'm not sure we can be friends. All right, here comes the cheese. I'm gonna use the rest of this bag. So this is, I have two 1 pound bags here. I don't think I'm gonna use it all, but I would say probably a 1.5 pounds maybe is what we'll use total. A full bag and then about half of another one. You want this top layer of cheese to be pretty generous. You want it to be pretty cheesy on top. So don't be shy with the cheese on this last layer. You don't have to put quite as much in the middle layers because the ricotta cheese mixture has some mozzarella in it. Yeah, I used probably a little over half of that. So about 1 2/3 maybe a bag of cheese. Okay. All right, and then the last thing I do, and this is more just for make it look kind of creamy. I take my Italian seasoning. You want to make sure that's on there good so it doesn't fall off. And then I just give it just a little shake on the top. Just puts a little bit of green on top. I think it looks pretty. All right, so let me show you this before I cover it up because we are going to cover it and it's going to go in the 350-degree oven. And it's going to bake for at least 45 minutes. I'm going to check it at 45 minutes. It may have to go just a little bit longer, but about 45 minutes, and then we'll take the foil off, put it back in for about another 15 just to kind of brown that cheese on top. But there you go. That's what it looks like before it goes in the oven. So we're going to get our foil. Now remember, I told you with the aluminum foil, it doesn't matter which side goes up, the shiny or the dull. Either way, it's going to cook exactly the same, according to Reynolds Wrap anyway. And I usually kind of tap it just a little bit, just to create just a little bit of a dome, so it doesn't sit right down on top of that cheese. That kind of helps keep it from sticking. Of course, if you wanted to, you could spray it with a little bit of cooking spray or something like that. I just had that thought, but since I've already started, I've never done that before. I just had the thought that you could probably do that, but I've never done it, so I don't usually have any trouble. You can kind of see though, see how it's kind of domed up a little bit? If you just kind of pop it there in the center with your hand, and then it will sit down on there without actually sitting on the lasagna. I'm going to put it in the oven. That's a nice hot oven. All right, 350, 45 minutes. I'll be back at that point and show you what it looks like when I take the foil off, and then we'll put it back in the oven, like I said, for about another 15 minutes. I'll be right back. I'm gonna clean up the kitchen in the meantime. I'll see you in a second. All right, guys, the timer just went off, so we're gonna get it out of the oven. Let's see how it goes. It is smelling absolutely divine. Absolutely divine. All right, let's see. Pop this foil off. Stuff just a little bit around the edges, but not too bad. All right, so you can see how that looks there. You can see how it looks. Yeah. Looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to put it back in. You can see it's got some juice on top, so we want to put that back in for, like I said, about another 15 minutes or so. Gosh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. All right, I'm going to put it back in now. 15 minutes. And when that's done, I'll come back. Be right back. All right, guys, so my timer went off at 15 minutes. It wasn't quite there, so I put it back in. So it's actually been in there for 24 minutes. I don't know why 24, but 24 seemed to work. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out so you can see. I can't wait for you to see this. Look at that. Isn't she a beauty? That is so pretty. Oh my goodness, I'm going to bring the camera in a little closer so you can see that. You'll have to excuse my camera skills, but oh my word, is that not gorgeous? Guys, my goodness. I did that. I did that. All right, tight. So normally you would let this sit for about 15 minutes or so before you cut into it. But I'm not sure I can wait that long. So we're gonna cut just a little piece out of it. Oh yeah, this is perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna use a knife. Let me grab a knife. That spatula's not wanting to go through the cheese. There we go. That's better. I'm just gonna cut out a little corner here. Just a little piece. See if I can get this out. The first piece is always hard to get out. Look at that. You can see those little layers in there. See it? Oh, it's so pretty. That is so pretty. I got all my dishes done, so now I gotta get a fork. Put them all away. There we go. I'm gonna take a little bite. Christy, girl. There we go. I think Brenda Gant would be proud. I think she would like it. I don't care who you are. That would make any Italian proud. That is absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Those veggies have just a slight crunch to them, just a little bit. So probably the pepper, just a slight crunch, hardly any, but it's just enough that you know they're in there. I don't miss the meat at all. It's got so much flavor. The only thing I think I would do next time, and I remembered it after I put the lasagna in the oven, and I thought, oh, I think it'll be okay, but put a little dash of salt in that ricotta cheese mixture. I forgot to do that. So you could do salt and pepper if you wanted. Normally I just do salt, but just maybe like a half a teaspoon. Wouldn't take very much because you've got a lot of salt in your cheese. I just completely forgot to do that earlier. So yeah, just about a half teaspoon in that ricotta, but other than that, it's amazing. My honey's gonna like that tomorrow. All right, guys, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you make this lasagna. I hope you make something, make anything. Just get in the kitchen. Just get in the kitchen and have fun. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, if you were encouraged, then just like a good pat of butter, spread it around. Just spread it around. It helps me, but it also helps others see how fun it is in the kitchen to get in there and get some good cooking going. Yeah, so please spread it around. And if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you like and comment on the post. That really helps me also. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you like and comment and click that notification bell so you never miss a video. And also make sure you click the subscribe so you can subscribe to my channel. I'm getting more and more followers on YouTube, so that's kind of exciting, but and I really appreciate it. I appreciate every single follower. I truly, truly do. Like I said, I never imagined I would have this many followers, and if I never get another one, that's okay, but I sure appreciate all of you that are watching with me and on this journey with me, and I hope you're learning a little something, learning about me, learning about what I love to cook, and learning some good recipes so that you can make them for your family too. And yeah, so remember, Christ is the unseen guest at every dinner table, and he is the silent listener at every conversation. So please make sure that your words are lifting each other up, that you're loving on each other, and that you are shining your light, because that's what we're called to do. I hope you guys are doing great, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.